Hello, hello, hello. Joe will be with us shortly, folks. Hey, we've got a guest on the show today at 12:15. Ben Lakoff from Charged Particles will be joining us.
Hey,
Um, some really cool shit. I'm just telling everybody that Ben from Charged Particles is going to join us, which is a cool concept. We've seen some other similar things before, so I'm interested to kind of hear from him what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they're going after the market. But it looks like a cool project. So excited to chat with him. And of course, we're in a colossal clusterfuck right now, Joe.
what's that? What happened?
Well, just in general, have you looked at the fucking prices?
Not today.
Let me give you a little update.
Is it down again? I was looking.
Well, it was down in the 21s. Now we're
Yeah.
back up to 22,667, and Ethereum's at 1247.
Yeah.
I meant to go see and look and see where ST ETH is. If that's still a good, if that's still an arbitrage opportunity. Let me take a look here real quick and see where we are with ST ETH. It is still looking good. ST ETH's at 1181.96, while Ethereum's at 1247. So,
Do we know the weighting in that pool? That
I don't know where it is right now, and I actually should probably figure out how to look that up. I guess you go over to the curve and take a look. I don't know. Let me look.
We did talk about Coinbase laying off 18% yesterday, right?
No, they were.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
no.
we've talked about it in the past, the layoffs, but they're laying off more.
Yeah, this is Tuesday. Yeah, today. 18% of the workforce. They're saying crypto winner.
Yeah, well, it's not like you didn't know it was coming, Chumley.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's Armstrong,
Yeah,
showing us how smart he is.
Oh, let me share a screen. So, there's some serious imbalance still in the curve pool, if I'm reading this correctly. 484,290 ST ETH, so 79.87%.
Oh, it's getting worse.
Yeah, 20.1% of ETH in that pool. So that's pretty fucking ugly.
Check in on USDD, the Tron stable. I saw that was at 98.
Oh, wait, you got to check out this tweet. Fucking Justin thinks he's fucking clever, so he's trolling everybody. He doesn't know how to fucking read the room. I mean, this guy is a piece of fucking work. Look at this tweet. So you remember this tweet from our buddy Doe?
Yeah.
When they were in the middle of the total fucking meltdown?
Yep.
Look what this piece of shit did today.
He said the same thing.
Same fucking thing. And I know he thinks he's clever trolling the DeFi world, but he's just a real piece of shit. I mean, it's just like, dude, seriously, making light of that shit. Let's see where look
at 98.2.
We go to coin 98, so it's still hanging at 98, huh?
Yeah, it hasn't. Let me look at the one day. It got all the way down to 97.8, and then it's kind of crawling back out right now.
Yeah.
But there'll be more coming to the party at this point.
What did he say? 2 billion Bitcoin in there?
Yeah. Well, supposedly I saw something that they bought. They already converted 450 million of it into USDT.
Oh.
So they're changing their backings into stables at this point, which
I wonder if that's a lesson they could have learned before they deployed this fucking stupidity.
Well, I heard something about what was it? There's just so much going on, and so many fronts. There was something about him that I had just heard recently, but maybe it was somebody else. But I did hear one thing that I thought this was kind of interesting, a little off topic, but Japan makes online insults punishable by 1 year in prison.
What?
So the tweeting and shit like that, if you insult somebody, you go to jail for a year.
What the fuck?
Is that fucking hysterical or what?
Holy shit, that's some serious nanny.
Well, some reality TV star was bullied to death or something like that in Japan.
That's a ridiculous overreaction.
Yeah, well, they don't do anything until they do something.
Wow.
But I think, look, that's where it's going. When they take down this free social media law that we got going on now, where you can't be sued for misstatements that's going down within the next year.
Yeah.
And so, because they have to clean this mess up. This is just too crazy. But I thought that was interesting, the first one. But the more important one was there's a Wharton professor, Jeremy Siegel, who's really famous as far as stock watching. And he thinks the S&P 500 is already priced in a recession and bear market. And his point is that, look, historically recessions shave, I think he says 31% off of the S&P 500 index. But that is kind of skewed a bit because it also includes the .com crash and the Great Recession, which were higher than 31. So it pulled it out. And we're already down almost 20% this year in the S&P 500. Wow. So his thinking is that
we're done.
We're closer to the bottom at this point.
That's interesting.
It's not quite there. So but that was kind of interesting.
Wait a minute. What did he say? Eamon said they can control their tweet hate, but not their bond yields over there in Japan.
Are they still negative? They must still be negative. They've been negative.
I would assume.
So long. I mean, that's when we came out of the buddy of mine worked at Japan desk for a number of years in their buildup, but also when their bubble popped at Treasury. And, we studied that like crazy in 2008 because the thing was, Japanese did it a little bit incorrect because they didn't flood the market with liquidity. They went more of trimming liquidity, which then gets you into this slow deflationary thing. And that's why we don't really care. Well, I'm not saying we don't care, but inflation is the lesser of two evils.
Right.
So, my feeling is
unless you can't feed your family.
Yeah, well, that's a macro opinion.
I guess it goes either way, though.
Yeah,
if you don't make any money because the economy's in the shitter, you can't feed your family. And if you can't buy the food because it's too expensive, you can't feed your family. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, but there's so much social safety net here. I don't see how. I mean, we just stimmied out like $8 trillion to everybody. And, people still can't get jobs and feed their families. I mean, wages are like higher than they've ever been. I mean, what's the McDonald's labor wage? $15 an hour?
Yeah.
And what's the minimum wage for restaurant workers in California? It's something like $17.50.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, they're making money. And I don't see how people if you don't got a job, get a job. I mean, people are quitting jobs left and right to take a better job. That means there's vacancies where they left.
Yeah, look, I think there are plenty of vacancies out there in the market. You have to live in the place where they are, and you have to be qualified for some of those jobs. So it's a mixed bag. But I totally agree with you that there are opportunities out there. I think look, I think it goes both ways. The problem is that the rate of inflation is far exceeding the rate of the inflation of wages, and so. While the CPI is at 8.6, the actual real inflation rate is supposedly somewhere in north of 20%. And because they don't factor in gas, they don't factor in rents properly. So
they don't factor petrol into the CPI?
No. I was just listening to that guy the other day that I was talking about yesterday, talking about that. I mean, he could be wrong, I guess, but he sounded very authoritative. And so he was saying the real rate's over 20%, which, it's not easy out there. I mean, friggin' I could afford I have a plug-in hybrid, so I don't buy any gas, but rarely, unless I'm driving more than like 30 miles. So for me, I'm not feeling that impact, but I'm certainly feeling, jacked up electrical costs every month, especially in the summer in Miami. Not that I'm doing a woe is me here, but anyway. So, look, I hope he's right that that's the bottom is factored in already, and we're there. That would be nice.
He just said he thinks we're closer to it. If there's a difference between 31% and 20%.
Sure.
And so he's kind of saying, I think that there's somewhere around 10 more percent to go down from wherever it was in January.
Yeah.
Not it wouldn't be from today necessarily.
Eamon said they lost their peg on the yield curve control. I guess where this is Japan, on the bond yield. They lost their peg on the yield curve control. It mooned the other day.
Oh, so. Well, also, the yield curves all flipped here like 2 days ago, and that's the number one recession indicator.
Yeah,
because everybody starts taking money out of long-term stuff and moving it into shorter-term things, and that's why the yields flip.
Yeah. Couple other things. Ripple.
Yeah, I saw that.
Ripple's counsel's not fucking around.
Yeah, I mean,
He
It kind
says,
of looks like it.
he
You know?
says, like a hammer wanting everything to be a nail, the SEC is keeping everything murky so it can argue every crypto is a security. Look, I've often said that I feel like the lack of clarity is like a honey pot, right? It's a way to get people to continue to do it because ultimately the incentives, I think, are misaligned. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because you'll start crying over there.
For what?
you'll start being worried about where I'm going with it. So I'm not going to do a full blown rant, but I do think that, look, I mean, we know that the lack of clarity is what causes hesitation in the space, causes Americans to think twice about staying here and building, and it causes foreign projects to block Americans taking part in their projects because nobody knows for sure. So,
well, look, on the latter, I say fuck all the projects. Just strap up a VPN and go do what you're going to do.
Well,
it's not illegal here.
Of course. No, it's not illegal as a user, obviously.
No.
Right, obviously. What did he say? By bringing enforcement actions or threats of potential enforcement, the SEC intends to bully, bulldoze, and bankrupt crypto innovation in the U.S., all in the name of impermissibly expanding its own jurisdictional limits. Like a hammer wanting everything to be a nail. I already said that.
I don't know. Lawyers, everybody always positions with shit. He's taking an inflammatory position because probably something went against him.
Probably. But
look, I think the problem with all of those 2017 projects or whatever is that, it wasn't so much that it was the offering that they're in trouble for, that they're all trying to sort out, the fundraising part. Because that's where all the gray area is. I mean, we were registered everything back in the .com days. Yeah. The law firm was filing every single possible thing, even private placements, everything with the SEC. So it's a pain in the ass, but it's the board we're on, basically. That's the regulatory landscape. I think Ripple should I don't know where that is now. I don't pay attention because I think it's a piece of shit anyhow. But, they should just settle or get this done, pay a fine, quit whining.
No, I think
bringing everybody after you at this point.
Well, I applaud the fact that they're fighting because at the end of the day, it'll bring clarity or it'll, at the end of the day, it'll bring some clarity because they're fighting at the core for what actually does and does not become a security. So,
but they're not like everything else. They're a completely different type of token.
Well, that's true, but the evidence that they're basing it upon is the conversations within the SEC that were being kept private about Ethereum not being a security, and the SEC doesn't want that on the record. And so I think that's where we get some clarity. But anyway.
Well, okay. Final point.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, then, it seems to me that, Ethereum's proof of work, or it certainly was back then.
Sure.
And XRP is not.
Correct.
So I can make an argument that Ethereum's not a security under that point, but Ripple is.
No, that's a good way to frame it. And I have no idea what the details of the arguments are back.
I think you just got two big law firms running up tabs, going at it in DC.
Yeah, probably.
Those guys are $2,000 an hour.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
So they don't want it to settle.
Yeah, of course.
Let's drag this shit out 10 years, man.
Of course. Tomorrow, I want to talk about this project. I sent you the link in our group, Joe. Railway. It's a smart contract-based privacy wallet. For DeFi, works with most of the protocols in the space. It's actually pretty cool. I read through the details of how it functions. It's interesting. So, but we have a guest today.
I saw that. Yes.
So, Ben, welcome to DeFi Lunch and the chaos that is DeFi Lunch. How are you today?
I'm sure it's chaos right now. I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Good,
hey,
buddy.
Good, man. Good.
Hey, do we pronounce your last name Lakoff or Lakoff?
Lakoff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Looks like Lakoff, pronounced like Lakoff.
All right. I screwed it up at the intro. So today we have joining us Ben Lakoff, and Ben is with Charged Particles. So Ben, if you could first intro yourself to us, kind of give us a little bit of your background if you don't mind, and then let's talk about the project and how it came about and what you're building.
Sure. Ben Lakoff, American, spent 10 years outside of the US, so I'm more of a diet American at this point. But background in finance, got into crypto in 2016 via angel investing. So I have my CFA. I know a lot of these things that you probably discuss on here and have been tinkering in crypto for a long time. got involved with Charged Particles summer of 2020. So Rob Secord is the original founder, visionary of Charged Particles. And I mean, he got the Twitter handle DeFi NFT in February 2020. So a little foresight to where these things were going.
Nice.
The composability of both of these aspects in new, unique ways. And I joined him in summer of 2020. I was a mentor at a Web3 accelerator called Kernel. And yeah, we've both been full-time on it since October of 2020 and building Charged Particles into what it is today.
That's awesome. So tell us what Charged Particles is.
Yeah, so Charged Particles is an NFT protocol that allows you to take your NFT, give it a smart wallet, so that NFT can hold other assets. So what this looks like is you can create bundles or baskets of your NFT owning other assets, other NFTs, other fungible tokens. We have integrations with Aave and Compound, so your NFT can earn yield. It's not like a magic yield wand, but it's through Aave. But this was like the original thing that really got Rob and me, like the idea of having your NFT with a principal amount and accumulated interest amount that could equate to something else within that ecosystem, whether it be power within a game, accumulated yield, I can battle you, you steal my yield, these sorts of things. But that was kind of the original inception of Charged Particles.
Wow, nice. And in terms of kind of the use cases going forward, you just talked about kind of battling and using them for gaming or whatever. What are some other things that you guys are positioning it for?
Yeah. So ultimately, it's an NFT protocol. So there's so many different use cases within all of these different verticals. So our SDK comes out in the next couple of weeks. So the idea of taking this as the building block that it is and building other things on top of it. But at this point, I mean, with our DApp, it's more of a proof of concept of like showing people what they can do with it. And then once the SDK is here, it's like actually, take this building block, plug it into whatever you have planned. But I would kind of categorize them into art. So this is somebody creating a art NFT, filling it full of social tokens, filling it full of interest-bearing assets, a portion of that interest going to charity. A couple weeks ago, we had I don't know if you saw the news, but there was a mural in Memphis with $100,000 nested inside of it, earning interest. And if you go visit the mural in real life, you get a POAP, and those POAP holders decide it votes based on the number of POAPs you have on where that interest is directed to what charity.
Nice.
So it's like a really, really cool physical, digital POAPs, identity, voting, charity, all of these things kind of rolled up into one really, really magnificent piece. So that would be like art, and it is kind of a lot of those things. Within gaming, I mean, we have a gaming guild. Actually, on Thursday, we have another round of this game going live. It's called Polygorn. So you battle these little monsters together, nest different things inside of them, which gives them more power. So that would be gaming. And then financial is another big use case. So vesting capsules, DAO capsules. But the idea is that if you're raising funds and want to bring on investors, instead of directing them to a vesting contract on Etherscan or some vesting portal, you can actually wrap that vesting contract, put that into an NFT, and send the NFT with the tokens inside of it on day one. So the investor can transfer it to a new wallet, use it as collateral or what have you. Bless you, Brad.
Thank you.
Good mute. Right. Just in the nick of time.
I felt it coming. So, are these capable of being time locked as well, or other actions on the blockchain that can impact whether say in the token example, those are unlocked or yield is unlocked for yield bearing assets, whatever?
Yes, 100%. And the time lock is so this smart wallet has many of the features that a normal wallet has. You can put different assets in it. You can time lock it. You can do vesting in it. So all of these aspects kind of trickle into the game or art or the financial use cases, allowing for more flexibility within this NFT.
Nice. And is this something that end users can actually utilize and make use of? Is there a UI to this, or is this more of a B2B integration type play?
No, there's definitely a UI. So if you click on launch app, that will take you to our DApp. And I mean, this thing has been live since 2021, nice. February. But you can mint an NFT. It's free to mint. So it's a standard kind of minting contract. Right. But the real secret sauce is like in the manage page. So this is when you have minted an NFT. So currently we're only allowing NFTs from minted on Charge Particles or Rarible. And then we're actually starting whitelisting other NFT contracts, but it was kind of gated at first, but we're slowly ramping out. We actually last month or end of May, I think. No, end of April. Man, it's like a time warp, especially with a bear market. Jesus Christ. What is today? Tuesday?
Today it's 2026.
We're in June now.
Holy moly. But no, end of April, I guess, because it definitely wasn't May. We had Particlon, which is an NFT drop, go live. So this is a 3,000 generative drop. Super cool art, but each NFT minted had a utility token inside of it. So this was like the first generative drop built using Charge Particles contracts ability to be energized. So there's a bunch of cool stuff coming up at NFT NYC. There's like some AR scavenger hunts, which each Particon hidden in the city will be filled with partner tokens. So it's this nice gift basket filled with a bunch of goodies.
Very nice. In terms of the partners that you're working with, do you guys have partners that are already kind of in progress of planning things they're going to do with this once the SDK is available? I mean, are there some things you can talk about, some of the things they're planning to do?
Yeah, I mean, yes, there's a bunch of people that said they're super looking forward to it and they can't wait and they're kind of lined up, but we'll see like when the rubber hits the road. And
sure.
And this is like the beta release of our SDK. So we're kind of building with a few partners and making a lot of assumptions, but you know, an SDK isn't a one size fits all sort of delivery. So this will be an iterative approach. But like, I mean, all of the different things that are happening within our gaming guild, for instance, we're doing it in a very like Flintstone-y sort of way of like, okay, everyone needs to time lock these things in your character by this time and go to the Charge Particles DApp and you need to put this NFT and this token inside your battle character by this time. So it works, but it's like, there's a lot of friction and learning, but sure, it's a slow way of onboarding people into like what's possible with Charge Particles. And we're live on Polygon too. So it's not a gas disaster to do these things because
that's good.
I mean, it's this was part of the reason why we went live on Polygon, right? It's like the ability of this protocol and what we can do are like we say the possibilities are endless, but they really are. Like these composable pieces all put together, but every time you interact with the blockchain, it costs a little gas. And if gas GUI is over 50, that little gas is a lot of gas, which is not fun.
Yeah. In terms of, look, I mean, like you said, the possibilities are endless for the uses of this. From your perspective, do you guys find it difficult as you're talking about the project? I mean, I'm sure there are these temptations to like focus in and hone on one use case and just harp on that. But at the same time, you think, well, wait, there's all these other things we could be doing. How have you guys kind of balanced out trying to communicate all the possibilities to given, markets?
Great question. And the short answer is probably not as well as we could, because this is hindsight. It probably would have made sense to like split into almost like two divisions, like the protocol and then one specific dApp.
Right.
We had thought that like the art would be kind of, and that's kind of the way it was set up, is like the art dApp. This is for artists, but now we've bolted on like people using the art dApp for financial applications. We've had, I think, $30 million locked in these vesting capsules by projects raising funds or selling OTC to their investors. You know, so there's good use cases there. So we didn't want to like
Limit it.
push on that use case. So it's with the SDK, and we have another like wallet manager. We'll be able to build these things and like spin up new dApps that are much more specific, and it'll be a lot easier. You know, you'll have like the more financial focused dApp, and then the more art focused dApp, and the gaming focused dApp, and then the SDK that kind of like wraps those all together. But yeah, to answer your question, probably not as well as we could, because we do get excited about a lot of these use cases, and we get like just enough traction with each of them that it could be like something very interesting. Yeah, so we're kind of like still throwing a lot at the wall and like seeing what sticks the most. But ultimately, we exist to be this NFT protocol. So showing all of the possibilities is part of the role.
Sure, I get it. Now, I would be your worst nightmare on your team, because you know there'd be 12 ideas a day. You know.
Oh
so,
yeah, we know Brad.
Oh yeah. Hey, I'm a fan of bad ideas. It's like give me tons of bad ideas, because you know, if you like keep throwing enough bad ideas at the wall, like eventually you're probably going to come up with either a good one or one that's so terribly, like atrociously, laughably bad that it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, right, absolutely. Well, and I think it's funny. We were just talking about there's a streaming payments protocol called Superfluid, and they are very much want to be a protocol like you, right? But I'm not telling you how you should go to market. So because there is no right answer ever. But we were talking last week about the fact that two competitors launched with a focus from a marketing perspective on just pay your community people and your team members in your project with streaming payments, right? The funny thing is that within Superfluid, you can do exactly what these other protocols are doing, but their traction and uptake was something that was very simple for them to communicate to a specific niche market. So, but I think it's interesting because you guys have a fairly robust community, right? One of the things I've thought is there is an opportunity for teams within the community to actually go after specific markets, right? And do the biz dev for you, so that you know your limited team can focus on building the protocol and making it stronger and communicating and training developers. Anyway, it's an interesting quandary. It's a common one with kind of development focused, SDK focused, along with having a user use case thing. It's just a normal thing. After all my time in tech, it's like this never ending story.
Oh yeah. No, it's very valid. Well, and the reality, I mean, with Web3 in general, we're all very early, and even these projects that have a bit of perceived traction, it's not clear like how sure, like there's very few projects with true product market fit within the Web3 space.
Yep.
And it's not a product of like stupid teams or wrong, incorrect approaches. Right. It's just there's a very small pool of people that are like dabbling within Web3 in a way that's not highly speculative. You know, let me buy this JPEG and hope it goes to $100 million so I can buy a Lambo that's wrapped in Dogecoin and laugh all the way to the bank, you know?
Well, and I think the thing that's probably most powerful for what you guys are doing is that having an NFT with functionality, right? It leads to all kinds of things. Like there is potential for entire other products to be built around what you're doing. And so ideally what you want is people with ideas in the world to come and say, oh, I can use this to build my DApp, or I can build this to integrate this with that. And that really is the goal. And I think then it becomes a product of saying, hey, here's all the possible things, you know? And I often say that projects like this, technologies and protocols, often the things that seem to the most obvious at the beginning are not the things that really make them take off, right? It's actually something that somebody thought of using it in some strange way that was never even on the radar. So
yeah, and that's exactly right, and this is why we love doing conversations like this. And we have a community call every Wednesday, and we've segmented into a number of different guilds within our Discord. So each guild has its own guild leader that's focused on solving problems within that niche and that use case of NFTs. And Charged Particles is at the front of mind of thinking like how this can be used there, because like, you know, we're in our own little echo chamber of, we have a great team of 12 people and super smart people that are very passionate about Charged Particles, NFTs, Web3, but like the cumulative brain power of a community of a couple thousand people that are very passionate about it will trump that all day long.
Yeah. Well, and the risk in niching down into a vertical or a DApp focus is that you then focus all of the protocol on that, or too much of the protocol on that, and then you don't end up with something that people can use to create things you never imagined, right? So
exactly.
I definitely understand that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's finding a balance, right? Because I mean, ultimately, we do have limited time, resources, money. So finding some sense of product market fit that kicks off enough revenue to sustain the business and the operations long term. I mean, eventually, we have a governance token. We have this plan to follow progressive decentralization and have a community-owned project, but like, you know, that. It's progressive decentralization, not like snap your fingers and then it's community owned and operated. Because
take this, guys. Yeah. In terms of, I lost my whole train of thought. You have any questions, Joe? While I get
lots.
Back?
I mean,
go.
Well, first, great to meet you, Ben.
Yeah, likewise.
Super cool project. You know, we've been involved in a couple other NFT projects. Well, many of them actually, but. You know, I've always been trying to figure out when you can start getting yield off NFTs and start staking them. And that's what always attracts me. And I'm in the website. I love that you can mint a particle here for free, right? Free minting. Yeah,
it is.
So that's pretty cool. I mean, because you can mint these NFTs for free. I'm curious about, I looked at the leptons, and I guess, is that where you're talking about, like you stake NFTs to get yield, or because I know you said it could only be NFTs on Rarible, and I think within Charged. But can you take an NFT on another project from Variable and somehow stake it here and get yield on it?
So the original plan with leptons was this would be like liquidity mining within NFTs, encouraging people to stake assets and earn yield within NFTs. Okay. So we sold these leptons in February 2021, like at our launch party. And they were yield multiplying leptons or NFTs. So the idea of earning interest in your NFT, and then when you deposit this other NFT, this lepton inside, it increases the amount of INX that you earn. So this will still go live. It's just been pushed back a bit on the roadmap. But again, the yield, that's subsidized in INX, our governance token, but the yield is just earned from Aave in that case. Okay. So you're earning a little bit of yield in your NFT, and then a little bit more of INX as like a booster yield. And then if you use the lepton, then you're getting an even more boosted yield on that yield.
Well, that's cool.
But like in terms of like staking your NFT and earning yield, no, not yet. I mean, the closest to that, and we're not solving that problem. But, well, there's some projects that are different. But I guess lending out your NFT would probably be the closest. Right. And the only, I don't know if Arcade's live, but I know that Drops is live, and maybe Pawn, PWN went live. But I know there's a lot of kind of projects working on that.
Yeah, because I think the problem in the past has been, you know, how do you know the value of it? I mean, all the appraisers always just go off the last sale price, and off of OpenSea data or something. And we know how that. I'm pretty sure the equivalent of a lot of wash trading is going on over there in general. I think they already said that sometime in the past. But so you can never really, when you come in part, BTC, the value, or the USDT value, and when you go into liquidity pools or whatever. So if anybody could ever get there, that'd be pretty exciting. But I think it's got to be a little bit more bespoke, like you said. It has to be something that's a high end piece of art type NFT that has an appraised value. But we've had another project that I like the idea of NFTs as governance tokens too, and I like the idea of burying terms in the NFT like you're doing. Like you said, different profit interest or participation rights or yield or boosters or bonuses. You can basically do a bespoke deal with almost everybody coming into the platform to give them what they want to get their participation, right?
Yeah. And actually, I have a blog post that's been sitting in drafts for like laughably long because I'm not the best writer, but I know that I should. But it's about, the thought is there. And it helps like me trap my monkey mind on the paper and like kind of clear my thoughts a little bit. But then I just move paragraphs around for a obnoxiously long time and then, whatever. But
you're a perfectionist. That's why you're a perfectionist.
Or you just have too much to freaking do.
Yeah. Also probably that. But like the idea of having NFTs as the governance layer for these projects, but with, and selfishly, obviously, like putting charged particles as a use case in here, the idea of having your NFTs as the governance token. And then if you have another fungible token, putting those fungible tokens within that governance NFT, and then even time locking them, these adjust the voting weight that you would have within that ecosystem. And so it's like, because a lot of these things like Yuga Labs, it's like one ape is one vote and one Bored Ape is one vote or whatever within that ecosystem. Oh, just kidding. Now we have the ape fungible token. Okay, well, what if you have, don't we want to incentivize people to own like a Bored Ape, a mutant, and a bunch of ape tokens? Well, what if you just package those all together into one little package? Like what? And then if you time lock those, so you're basically forced hodling, like doesn't that show that you're an even bigger fan of the Yuga ecosystem? What kind of voting weight should that garner within that ecosystem?
Wow, that's kind interesting.
Where the thought
I love
was.
that.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that concept. And I think, I think the potential for add-ons and other functionality that comes with it, along with increased voting rights, that's a really smart concept.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at, I'm sure you guys have talked quite a bit about optimism on this channel, but like optimism, super cool idea with the Citizen House and the Token House with soulbound, which are non-transferable NFTs, and then the fungible, wildly fluctuating, transferable, fungible governance token. So like, well, with charged particles, you can mix these together and maybe it has even more power within that governance structure. So governance as it is with liquid governance, fungible tokens, probably not the best like final form of what governance looks like. I'm not necessarily sold on like soulbound or non-transferable tokens or just NFTs, but I think you can take these pieces and put them together in a way that might be closer to like the final form of what this could look like.
Yeah. Absolutely. I was clicking through some of the use case ideas on your website. This one on the creators side of things is actually really interesting to me because I think there's a ton of potential in that marketplace. And I like the idea. There was one line in here, not only immersive storytelling, but community oriented games. With the idea being able to actually unlock and embed some level of functionality into these NFTs so that it becomes this immersive experience for people that buy it. So they're unlocking extra content that nobody else can see, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's super cool. So kudos to Mango and kind of the community for leading these ones. But we had like a choose your own adventure story done through an NFT. So you have an NFT with multiple NFTs nested within it, and
Nice.
each one you go down kind of unlocks another branch of the story, which is super cool. Again, like weird crazy experiment, but that's what we're here for, is like providing that flexibility for true creativity to do things that you can't do within these other platforms. We did this pass the particle, which so I would take an NFT, nest one inside, send it to you. You would take that one that's actually, one within one, put it within yours, send it to somebody else, and we went like
Nice.
13 layers deep. So it's a fun experience, but this thing couldn't go on forever. You can have like infinite levels of nested assets within an NFT. So it really opens up people's minds to like, hey, this NFT is not just a JPEG. We've been beating that drum for a long time, but not just a single NFT, which in all of its forms is really amazing. It can also have this smart wallet that can also have NFTs, that can also have fungible tokens. They can have LP tokens, whatever you would like in there.
That's cool.
Can I ask one quick question? Sorry, Brad. If you I guess my question is, if you nest those NFTs like that, and I'm thinking of those little Russian dolls again, does the wallet, does the top layer NFT show all the NFTs in that, I guess, wallet, or are the other ones hidden?
No. Well, I mean, define how you say show.
I guess, well, let me tell you what I'm getting to first, and I'll probably explain it better. Is there a way to embed stuff, like, let's say you were, had a proprietary financial model that you needed to move somewhere that was super, super sensitive. So you put it into an NFT. You come to your site, and I guess you just add it into an NFT. And then you bury that like 12 NFTs in. Can someone see that financial model's there? Like if they're scanning your devices?
If they're very astute with Etherscan, yes.
That's what I
for
thought.
sure, because it's all on chain, right? So would they be able to see it in OpenSea or like LooksRare or something like that? No. Because they don't have an integration with our API or anything. So, but with an Etherscan, they would be able to see that, hey, there's something in there, and through enough clicking, and then you could view it on our app or some other website where you could see what that NFT holds.
Yeah, because it's pretty cool. I mean, just for cybersecurity or just regular, protecting your enterprise and stuff, it would seem like you could add extra layers of just walls that people got to get through to get to your stuff. Maybe your treasury wallet is embedded deep in layers of NFT
written on a public blockchain. Somebody will find it.
Somebody will definitely find it.
But there are ways to. I'm just kind of thinking of a security, because I've always had this idea. I mean, I'm sure it's all in effect now, but 20 years ago, it was about storing all the data in the pipes and all the stuff swirling around. So there weren't fixed like drives with data. It was just broken up into packets and dispersed,
data.
but you could pull it all together. I'm sure something like that is going on in some worlds now, but I always think it's interesting with these NFTs, because the other thing I think about is you could put portfolios inside an NFT.
100%.
Yeah. So look, if you go to like you could put like multiple projects in one NFT on Charged, right?
Oh yeah.
So you could hold like a whole portfolio of crypto and have it on an NFT.
An index NFT. Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody would really even know what it was.
We've yeah, I've
until they were
done
smart.
blog posts about this for a while now, but the thought of like doing a like a better NFT index fund, and if there's anybody listening that's interested to do this, I mean, what you would do is take an NFT, fill it full of whatever like that index should be tracking. So I'm a big fan of like the fluff ecosystem. So you take a fluff, you take a party bear, you take a ASM brain, you take burrows, you take all of these NFTs and you put them in the NFT. Then you take whatever governance tokens make sense, put those in there. Then you have this basket kind of tracking that fluff ecosystem, both mixed of fungible and non-fungible tokens. then you could take this to any of these fractionalization platforms. You could fractionalize it, and then other people could have exposure to this fluff ecosystem through that like meta NFT that you've put together.
That's really cool. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
Cool.
One of the things that kind of struck me as you were talking about the model for creators, where there were these multiple levels of unlocking, is I could really see gamifying that, right? Like you do some kind of sweepstakes where it's a scavenger hunt, but the scavenger hunt exists the same in every NFT, but you have to solve the clues to get to the bottom of it, and some mechanism when you get to it, the first one to do it collects it, right? So I could definitely see some really cool possibilities with that, especially for creators. That there's a ton of really cool opportunities here.
Man, yeah, that's a cool one. Another one that's like always been kind of stewing in the back is the idea of a AR NFT scavenger hunt, whether IRL or like
nice.
in a metaverse. But what you could do is like Pokemon Go, people would drop the Pokemon thing right outside their shop to drive traffic there. Made sense. You could drop an NFT, fill it full of $10 million principal, and just have it earning interest through Aave or whatever. And whoever finds it first just collects the accumulated interest. So the longer it stays hidden, the more interest accumulates, and you could just keep moving this thing around. But you partner with the shops of like, hey, I'm going to drop an NFT AR. So, it's not some like spray paint thing, but people are going to be walking around with their phones, and the first one that finds it is going to collect, whatever, $150 an hour or whatever. So 4 hours goes by, it's getting pretty good. Oh, here's the catch. Instead of them just walking away with the money, like maybe we take half of that, convert it into another NFT that's also invested in Aave, earning interest. But that's a gift card that's only redeemable at your store.
Nice.
We're going to use this to drive traffic to people, and look, they'll end up buying stuff anyway. So
that's a great idea. I love that
cool.
a lot. That's a real nice motivator with partners. That's really cool. That's great.
Yeah. So we'll get to these things. So
sure.
Yeah. So, but
There's
again,
so many hours.
Would highly encourage your listeners to drop in community call every Wednesday. Jump in. That's kind of low touch, easy on Twitter, but always happy to hear, more and more dumb ideas. Bring them on.
Absolutely.
We'll have to join that. Brad, I wanted to ask you a quick question too. I'm thinking about this, and remember the Chainbinders project?
Sure.
Okay, they had like a main character NFT, and then they had all the story NFTs around it. The weapons, the books. You take like one character and all of their accessories, because they were all separate NFTs, and you load them all into one NFT here.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So name one of the Lilith was one of the NFTs,
right?
But you load her and all of her stuff into one NFT, and then they move them on OpenSea that way.
Yeah, that's very
with
cool.
all the gear. So that could be pretty interesting. Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff here, man. This is good.
What's it been like of growing a community, Ben?
Well, so I mean, Rob was speaking about this in 2019. So I mean, it was a nights and weekends kind of a hackathon project. So I'd say as early as like January 2020, he had a Discord open, and like those are some of like the earliest and strongest OG community members
nice.
Who've been around and fans like ever since that beginning.
Wow.
So it's nice to kind of start. I think growing with a community, you're either really solving like a bleeding neck issue, and like you have just super fans that like, I use this product to do this, or you do what Rob did, which was really like capture the imagination of a small group of people who evangelize it quite well. And it's like, we're not in our final form of where this thing is super, super prevalent and everybody knows it, but everybody knows that. But everybody, like, I mean, after like this conversation with you guys, you're like, oh shit, this could be used for this and this and this.
Oh yeah.
So like, presumably, I'll get a message from you guys in 3 months, like, hey, this is a very dumb idea, but have you thought about this? So it's like, I think that's kind of the other way, and that's the route we've taken. So it takes time, but it's like it's like the Nick Saban or whatever, it's you just show up, you just keep doing your job,
keep
and
doing
like
it.
eventually we'll get there. But yeah, we'll just keep showing up, and the community has been there and super supportive from the beginning.
Nice. Very nice.
Did you
Go
guys real quick, I just want to do one thing before I say this real fast. Hold on. Did you guys
Nice.
did you guys raise any money, or are you looking to? I know you have a token, but I was wondering if you're doing anything on that front, because people listen to the show too or do that type of thing.
Yeah, so we raised in the end of 2020. But like, I mean, the thing is, we raised a cumulative $1.75 million, which, for now, that would be a pre-product market fit, early stage, like $100 million valuation, be a drop in the barrel, right? But no, at this point, we're exploring additional fundraising options, but we raised in late 2020 and early 2021.
Yeah, so that's because I've ran a fund and advised investment banks and do all that kind of stuff, and you're always raising money.
Yeah,
or at least, but you're not out with your hat in hand. My strategy is always you just execute because they'll show up.
Yeah,
and when they do, then you can have a good discussion, and it's not like you starting here. It's like then they're making the ask and they're generating the contact and they're making the offer and generating terms, and then you counter. So I think that's the right strategy, is execute. But, if it makes sense and the valuation's right, of course we'd like more capital so we could expand into these areas. Yeah. But we're not quite there yet. Something like that,
And we've built up, like, one, the community, but two, an amazing team. Like we're 12 people, and it's a really, really good group, smart group of people who are committed to making charged particles into what we all know it can be. The bear market's ugly right now.
Well, we all lived through it back in, what was it, 18, 19?
Oh, it was the worst. Me and a couple team members, we talk. I mean, it's full PTSD, man. Price goes down. I'm like, oh god, here it goes again.
And here we are.
Don't you remember, like,
texts from all my family, like, what should I buy? I'm like, I don't know. It's probably going to zero. Jeez, what's happening here?
I was feeling that on that Thanksgiving of 2018. Remember that, when it was at like 7,500 and it dropped to 3 overnight?
Right.
Everybody woke up the day before Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving, and I was like, holy shit. Because, you're getting paid in BTC, and like, okay, you're going to give me 2 BTC a month, and, which is great when it's up. But then when it's down, you're like, what the hell am I doing this gig for? But yeah, it's like, and then we had a little project we were all working, and we had a lot of stuff in Cryptopia. And then, a month after that, then I was eking out a little bit of earnings over there trading on Cryptopia, and then they get hacked. So it's just
Cryptopia, the freaking New Zealand exchange.
I
totally forgot about that.
That was like
I totally lost. That was like my my shitcoin exchange. So I don't think whatever I lost there wasn't very much, but
yeah. But then I was like, screw it. At that point, I kind of just threw in, capitulated, and just said, I'm not even looking at this shit, for a while. And then you keep watching, and people are asking you questions, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, it's back on. And then, you're back in, and it's positive, and it's up only. But people always think that's going to go on forever.
It's the psychology is crazy, right? I mean, I remember 2017 just thinking like this thing's just going straight to the moon, and then being crushed. And I never left crypto, so I stayed around and you get to the point where you don't even check the chart, it's like, oh God, like where's the bottom? Literally zero. Like, or is it going to go negative and I owe somebody? Like, this is terrible. But then, this last bull, it's like up and to the right, moon mission, here we come. This time it's different. Global macro is impacting it in new, unique ways. And it's definitely going to $1 bazillion.
Yeah.
But, and here we are again. But I mean, this is where you say one thing and probably really want something else. Is, I've been saying, like, the amount of froth and nonsense in the space, we need like a forest fire to kind of clear some of the undergrowth.
Yep.
And if there's anybody from LA, I run Crypto Mondays LA every Monday in Venice. We have like 50 some people, but it's a good group. But you see the group dynamic kind of changed, and it's highly correlated with the crypto price. But like the type of person that comes in, near the top, and you're like, are these my people anymore? It's kind of a different crowd,
Exactly.
So,
it's an angry crowd.
Yeah.
The 58 buyer.
Yeah. So yeah, for real. So I think if it chops around and stays low for a while, like we'll start to see some of that nonsense leave the space, and people that are here for the right reasons start sticking around. And
out of the wreckage always comes the best projects and companies. It's always the way it is, and the wreckage has to happen. It sucks for the people that didn't know better and got burned, but it's the only way, you're right, that we clean out and make it go beyond. So
yeah, and the flip side is like these boom bust cycles allow for true innovation because money is cheap and easy, and like a bunch of projects get funded that are wild ideas, and those pieces that come from that like allow for the next iteration and the like of real adoption.
That's right.
So
that's very good.
Yeah.
Ben, I'm assuming send people to charge.fi to find you guys. Is that the best stepping off point to hit like Discord or whatever?
That is the best. Yes. Or,
Awesome.
on our Twitter at DeFi NFT, also
at
an easy
DeFi
one.
NFT. I'll publish when we publish this to the podcast and to the feed, which is where most of our viewers are. I will put those in the show notes as well.
Awesome.
Hey,
Thanks.
Ben, are you going to NFT NYC?
I am.
Oh,
Will you
cool.
guys be there?
I was
I will
thinking
not.
about it. It's like the
not.
20s. It's next week, right? Or the 23rd, whenever that is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm on a wedding embargo after this, but I've got a wedding this weekend in New York. But so fortunately, I don't know if I would have gone if I didn't have this perfectly timed wedding. But yeah, I'll be there.
I'm going to be out
no
your
more
way.
weddings. So
beginning
anybody
of
that's
July.
listening that wants to invite me to a wedding, apologies.
Yeah. Ben will not be taking any more wedding invites.
Yeah.
That's good.
Wow.
That's good. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man. I'm excited about your project. It looks really cool. I hope you and your community have great success over the next few months, building out and growing and launching the SDK and getting projects engaged with you.
Yeah. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys, and love the conversation. Looking forward to hearing this when it goes live.
Yeah, and we'd love to have you back on another time. So we'll do a follow-up later.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Ben.
Tim.
It was really nice to meet you.
Great to meet you guys as well.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Cool.
Super
That's
nice
really
guy,
cool.
man. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, I really like that. I like the Whoops, that's you. No, Joe. There we go.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Brad on his little ego patrol. He needs all the attention.
Nah, very nice guy, and it's crazy how long they've been around. I mean, seriously.
Think about when they got going. September of pandemic year.
Yeah.
The first one, 2020.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then we're doing weekend type gig, hackathon stuff, and then and now look where they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I see lots of things here. You know what I was really thinking about? I want to send those guys from El Salvador and
oh, good idea.
to him, and the ones in California that are doing the work down there, because they're doing a bunch of NFT stuff, and part of it was the real estate NFT stuff,
Right.
and it's another country, so it's not U.S. law. And we talked about putting the titles in the NFT for the units in that condo development.
Yeah.
So I'll send them there, and then Ransom himself, because he's got other projects going on. He's out in LA too, or in Northern Cal, but comes down to LA, so they can.
This concept's actually pretty cool. Imagine using the time locks as the mechanism for like an Airbnb blockchain play, where like if you have the wallet, it gets you into the apartment or the room or the house or whatever, right? And you get this NFT, it's time locked and it turns off at the end of it. It'd be a cool kind of way to manage it and sell it, right? And you've got images of the project. I mean, of the Airbnb, you've got things to do and see locally and that kind of stuff. Could be interesting.
Well, what if you everybody who stayed in your Airbnb, they got the free NFT drop,
right?
So then they would have, so then they would always have that place top of mind whenever they came back to that city.
That makes a lot of sense. I love that. That's great.
Excuse me.
That's great. That's all I got today, Joe.
I can't believe it's one.
I know, man. It was a good chat. We had fun with him.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, very cool. Like him a lot.
I wish I could get up to New York for that because I want to see what else is going on out there. Maybe
you should
some
go,
other
man.
people.
Why don't you go up there? Go on up there. Report live from.
Yeah, I can always expense it back
New
to
York
the show.
City. That's it. Go ahead, do that. I'll send you an NFT.
When do you go? Yeah, when are you going on vacation again?
The 27th.
All right, cool.
I'm actually going to be out his neck of the woods.
Oh yeah, cool.
In the beginning of July. So.
Well, you'll be in Ransoms too if you're going up Pacific Coast Highway.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of. You spending any time in San Fran?
Yep. We'll be.
I know a
for
ton of people there too.
Yeah.
We'll find some people for you to talk to. I mean, of course you're working on vacation, right?
Oh yeah. Please.
Yeah.
My after all this time, after 16, 17 years together, my wife's used to working vacations. So
good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well,
No
look,
trouble
I mean,
for Brad.
she's got me at home every day of her life and doing whatever she needs me to do. So
hell yeah. No, it's funny because I always feel like I saw some show yesterday and it was I watched The Mule again last night. The Clint Eastwood, he's a drug courier. And it was something that came out of that was really pretty funny. And it was about the wives. And God, I'm losing track of that one now. Oh, fuck it. It'll come back. But I'm like sick, so I'm on tons of Sudafed and things. And it's just, it's funny because I lose the train of thought in mid-sentence. It's weird. And then you're like fumbling around trying to find it,
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, shit.
Just move on.
Yeah. But no, I know what it was. It was that he goes, I've always felt like women just want to know where we are. Wives want to know where we are. It doesn't mean they want to be hanging out with us all the time, but they just want to know that you're not misbehaving.
Exactly.
Okay. And so if you can just accept that, then hey, it's all good. But the joke was in The Mule when Clint Eastwood is going off to prison, of course, for breaking a law. The daughter says to him, "Well, at least we'll now always know where you are." On that note, listen, thank you everybody for watching, for participating. We appreciate you. If you get a chance, please go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on the podcast feed, this will be out later this afternoon. Those of you watching on YouTube, please subscribe and click the little bell so you get notified. We have new episodes every day at noon, and as well our long form interview show, which is just Mission DeFi. So we have DeFi Lunch and Mission DeFi. Thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. We love you. We appreciate you, Joe. Have a great afternoon, and we'll catch everybody tomorrow. Yeah, thanks everyone, and thanks for the comments.
Yep, absolutely.
And we will